Okay.
Well, I'm glad.
Hopefully everyone's okay with the recording.
Good.
I should have checked before I clicked yes. If there's anything confidential that needs to be talked about, we can talk about it at the end of the meeting. So this is the Mur Ligase meeting on Tuesday, the 13th of April. Hello, everybody. Hopefully on screen is the issue to do with the meeting, which has a few actions from last time that we can talk about in case anyone's got any progress beyond what Chris just said. So shall I just run through these unless anyone wants to start with something of big importance? Otherwise, so Yuhang is looking at the synthesis of the AZ compound. He's been busily doing that. Yuhang, do you want to say a few words about where you're up to on the synthesis of the AZ alcohol?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Just let me share my screen. Right. So this is what I've been up to. You guys see it clearly, or do I need to zoom in?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so this is the reaction I've finished recently, and the yield was not good because that was my first reaction, so I screwed up. Sorry about that. But I got the compounds, which is around like 100 milligrams, and the NMR seems to be really pure. But the thing is, I can't be very sure. I cannot be sure about the result, like which one of the isomers I got, or do they just can't be discerned via NMR at this stage? Or do I need to just go straight forward to maybe to the next step, to maybe trying to separate them?
Can you not look for an NOE between the T-butyl and the methyl?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Not sure if it's really worth doing so, because the testing fees is more expensive than just do a quick UA formation to see it.
What's the expense in doing an NOE experiment?
So an NOE experiment usually requires both isomers, so you can be sure of your result, a positive and a negative, in an ideal world. The alternative here is to do something which is, I think has been done in the literature, which is to react that primary amine with an isocyanate to make a urea, which crystallizes easily and get a structure that way. That could be a simple way of doing it. Or the alternative is to go on to the next step and try and figure out if the molecule we've got is identical to the literature compound. There's no literature NMR for this.
Would AZ have it?
I don't think it's in the paper, potentially.
Okay.
Yuhang, did you make the beta-ketonitrile yourself? Or is that commercial? The one on the left?
Starting material.
Compound one.
Yeah.
Compound one was the commercial one, very cheap.
And have you checked that by NMR? So I've done quite a bit of this kind of chemistry, and I found that was actually unstable.
I've checked before.
And it's okay?
Yeah, it's totally okay.
Okay, and then the other thing I found when I was doing it, I actually got better yields when I switched to the acetate salt, not the sulfate. I don't know why.
Wow.
It might be something you could consider, but I also was just using hydrazine. I wasn't using the N-methyl, which adds an extra layer of fun.
All right. Okay. I think the idea is to repeat and then try and structure elucidate, or maybe carry to the next step. But I mean, it's early days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the literature procedure in the AZ paper doesn't have the salt of methyl hydrazine. Just use methyl hydrazine, and Yuhang's getting the free amine in situ, which is a slight difference. It shouldn't make that much difference.
Yeah, so I was thinking if the compound 5, the desired product, was a little bit unstable, thermodynamically than the later one, because what I can find online, like commercially, was the compound file was not that easy to get a commercial code. They have to make a synthetic plan, so it will cost up like £1,000 dollars for this compound, only for like a gram or several milligrams, I guess. But for this one, which is available commercially and has a cost code.
All right. Thanks, Yuhang. I guess keep pushing. Great, thanks. So in progress. Okay, and then the situation with the Atomwise is that we are still waiting for legal clearance for this. So we have clearance from Diamond for them to receive the compounds. We're waiting on clearance from Warwick to receive compounds. And then once we've got those clearances, then UCL can say to Atomwise, yes, we can go ahead. But we're still waiting on Warwick, then UCL to approve this, incredibly, given that we've had these compounds for a long time. I'm glad they're in the freezer, because time is just ticking by. There's nothing we can do about it, I don't think.
No, I mean, I'm going to try again. I mean, the more we keep pushing, but the system here, I think, is almost broken. It just takes so long. There's such a hierarchy of sign-offs.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I can list a long line of collaborations where we're the last one to sign off.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing. We've been shamed by the speed of Diamond's response.
But then I thought Brexit fixed this.
Do we send it to Diamond now and Warwick later, or do we have to send the shipments at the same time?
We could, yeah, so that's right, we could do that. So we could go back to Atomwise and say that we've got approval for one. Can we go ahead with one? Yeah, that may be a good idea. Yeah.
Possibility. Yeah.
Why not do that? And the worst case is we could go down to Diamond to do the assays
without telling anybody. Yeah,
we're recorded and we're open source.
No, it's just a suggestion. You haven't said you're going to do it. I don't need to know. We'll try. Yeah,
I would press on, get them to Diamond, and let's get the soaking bit done, and somehow we can sort out.
So in that sense, if you go to the Diamond and you get some structures for some of the Atomwise compounds, so what's the next step? I mean, is it the ability to, at that point, you know what the compounds are? Can you actually, at that point, are you free to operate?
Mm-hmm.
Or so at that point, could you actually just order? I mean, these are all commercial compounds.
Yeah,
commercially available. So at that point, could you actually be free to order those compounds and then just, send them to Warwick? I'm just wondering if, what's the freedom to operate after you do something with the compounds?
Yeah, it's freedom to operate. So absolutely, if we found a compound that was good, then we could order it separately and then order around it and act independently.
Yeah, it's a good point, Joe. Let's just press on that as a worst case, probably the best case scenario, actually. And
yeah, great. Okay. Number 3 was Becker about screening the Lizbe SGC fragments, and then Dana Klug's elaborative fragments. So I guess screening at Warwick. Do you want to?
Yeah, so we've done Lizbe's screen. We've just got one final experiment to confirm the binding pocket. Unfortunately, Danas are taking a while just because we're having problems producing the UDP intermediate currently. It's really dirty, and obviously we're going to need a lot to do the size of screens we need to run. So we're working on trying to clean that up so we can get the levels we need so that everything's just one massive goes through to try and make it as clear and coherent as we can for those experiments.
Sorry, so yeah, you're generating more protein. Sorry, was that?
Protein and the UDP substrate we need as well. But once they're all done, we can just do a literal just week of just screening it all, and it'll get done in one massive block so that it's just as coherent as possible and as reliable as possible.
Okay. Great, fantastic, crucial stuff. Anyone got any questions about the screening that's going on? Obviously, that's a key part of what we're doing.
So are you generating, excuse me, you generating substrate in-house, UDP substrate in-house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
All right.
the backstory to that is, Joe, is because of lockdown, we haven't, things have been left lying around and not being used for a long time. So we've just had to go through a root and branch of the whole synthesis facility, which all the cofactors, it just ended up, there was a whole tier of things that needed to be changed, and they were all each 50% less active than they should normally be. And by the time you've got a 50%, 50%, 50%, you end up with stuff not working because it's a closely coupled recycled reaction and things weren't recycling properly. And anyway, Julie, who's one of the key facility technicians here, has been running through all of that, and I think I pretty much got that sorted.
Sounds great.
Wonderful. And then the next one was Laura setting up crystallization trials of Mur C and Mur D. Any updates you want to provide?
I have crystals for Mur D. They're still growing because apparently it takes like about a month or more to grow them. So I'm trying to get new crystals and optimizing those for SChem to see if I can get them faster. Because if not, it's too much waiting. But yeah, I prepare like 6 plates, yes. So we wait and we have enough crystals for doing the experiment. I do have Mur C that's waiting there until I can go and do the screen.
So which isozymes are these?
So is E. coli Mur C and Saga Mur D.
I'm sorry, which Mur D?
Sorry.
Sorry, which I didn't quite. Oh,
Saga,
sorry.
Saga, the other the other organism we have, the Saga.
Streptococcus agalactiae.
Yeah.
From Mur D.
Mur D and E. coli for Mur C.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not doing any Mur Bs.
So we have so far, yeah. If you want me to try anything else, let me know.
Okay, great, thanks. And then the next item was Joe Kristen Bart a compound shipment for crystallization trials. That was done, right? Is that
Bart
someone
can
posted
speak.
about something?
Bart can speak to that.
Actually, I saw Peter Horanyi on earlier.
Yeah, I'm here. We received everything. So that's my update. I'm at the bottom of the page, but yeah, we received everything. We're getting started ourselves with the protein and the compounds that Bart had shipped to us. So thanks for all that.
And somewhere we have which compounds those are. Somewhere, do we? Because I can't remember off the top of my head.
Those are ones I probably go ahead.
Lori, the enamine, right?
Yeah, so those are enamine compounds, but I guess I should somehow put the structures of those up on the wiki, up on the page.
Yeah,
I don't think I've actually shared those. I may have not shared those with the team at this point. So
right.
okay. If you can, that's an action item. Yeah.
Right.
If you can share the smiles with us, that'd be great.
Sure.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, any way of doing it, like an Excel sheet or a picture or anything, just drag it onto the issue here.
Smiles in an Excel sheet would be ideal.
Yeah, that'd be useful.
No problem.
So we did get the AZ application submitted.
Yeah, I don't have that as
I posted that somewhere on GitHub when it got submitted. As a response to the last meeting notes.
Yeah, so that was a request for compound submitted to AZ.
Right.
Yeah, I saw that. So someone posted that called Bartram. Who is that?
That would be me.
Sorry, I missed it. Who is it?
Me.
Oh,
Bart.
you. Right. Oh, Bartram.
So is that some relation, something relative to the Simpsons or what?
I don't know. I was some GitHub account I created like 5 years ago for some reason I don't remember. Now it's just my username. Like, all right, there it is.
Right. Okay. Because I think there was a Felicity Bartram who worked at Diamond, right? That was why I was confused. Okay, right. Okay, great. Chris and I were supposed to look at MRC schemes for funding. I guess we keep on exchanging emails about funding, but we don't need to talk about that now. It's not totally relevant. Chris Swain just found a scheme for something. Chris, I don't know if you've got it to hand.
I think I put the link in the email trail.
Oh, you did. Yeah, so I think everyone's got that, right?
Yeah.
It's £50,000 potentially, or £25,000, right?
Yeah.
From the
Guarantee antibiotic.
Yeah, it's from you must know this source, Chris Dowson.
I'm a trustee and was chair of the science committee until December.
Right. So I don't know if you, I mean, is this, what do you think? Do you think this is a viable source of funding for, perhaps consumables kind of thing?
I think it's definitely worth a go. I mean, there are some rubrics around so I'm not in charge of that fund anymore. There's some rubric around the focus of it to be thinking about combination therapies. So if you go further down, there's somewhere else I was reading about it. It's things that are supportive of what the charity is doing, but this project fits nicely into it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a useful source of consumables money, right? If a few of us went in for it.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think probably we just need to. It's probably worth having a conversation with not me having the conversation as a trustee. Absolutely not me, but probably you, Matt, having a conversation with Lloyd Payne, who's now the head of the science committee, ex-Evatech. I was just thinking David Cameron and texts back into government there for a minute.
Yes.
Definitely not me about the fit, but it ought to work well.
Okay, that sounds good. I mean, I might just ping you after this meeting for potential contact details in that case. If that would work nicely. It was always useful to sort of support the expense of what we're doing. And then Jan Jensen can't be with us today. He has all the data he needs to try to work on the positives and negatives that we've got for in vitro data against the Mur enzymes to try and do some predictive work. He's still chewing on that. He's been doing some work on the malaria project recently, but he'll eventually turn his attention to this project. He just put a message on the website. And this has already been done. So Peter already spoke about what's going on with those compounds. In terms of all the rest of this, I think we've pretty much covered everything on the agenda there in dealing with those action items. So separately from all of that, was there anything else that people wanted to mention or update everyone on? New developments or anything?
Yes, please. A little while ago, I sent a Google Doc around for a matrix of what proteins we had and what we had available for them. I think it would be good to complete that and then agree what the ask might be to SSGCID to help around cloning and additional protein production to target the priority pathogens. So, for example, our MUR-D at the moment is, Strep agalactiae. It's not hugely high on WHO priority list, but it was done for a particular situation with South Africa and neonatal sepsis. So, I think there's a number of proteins I think we really ought to have in our toolbox, structurally and assay-wise as well. So I think agreeing between us as a team what they ought to be, and then putting that as a proposal to SSGCID.
Yeah, so Peter should speak up on this, because that was actually my question, because I think Peter didn't really specify which of the isozymes Because you're working on Mur D, and I don't remember which one. I think it's E. coli, maybe.
So we have pure Mur C and Mur D, and Bart, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think these are from Pseudomonas aeruginosa and Acinetobacter baumannii.
Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, then a document I posted, there's a table of all of our Mur Cs and all of our Mur Ds in it, and also the ones that we tried and failed at. So you can see that we got to various stages. We didn't try very hard. So if there's one we wanted to rescue out of those lists, we could work on those. But primarily they're the Acinetobacter and Pseudomonas.
But I think that what SSGCID has is sort of figured out what construct works for crystallization, because some of those Mur Cs are full length, just doesn't work for crystallization, but the truncated versions do.
Right, but we don't have a Mur D though that has worked yet.
Yep.
Which is somewhat, well, anyway, I mean, it's in the literature, right? So I guess it's a question of figuring out.
Well, we don't try what's in the literature because it's done already. So we were trying infectious diseases that hadn't been done. So
I'm just wondering if we, for I think it's E. coli Mur D is in the literature. Is it worth getting that specific clone? Again, when we're trying to get structures into in a Mur D and a Mur C. I don't know. Anyway, just
yeah, 100%. We actually haven't started it yet, but the plan is that we're going to try the E. coli and as well as make a couple construct designs of what we have to improve crystallization.
But Chris D, you're talking about biology resources, right? So mostly what protein is available.
So it's really what constructs we got, what protein can we have available, etc. So I think probably just a round of emails probably quite quickly sort this out. Maybe there may be a couple of extras we want to start from scratch. Sorry, I've missed that table, Bart. I'll go and have a look through with Laura, or if Laura can have a look through to see, what was tried and failed and what might be rescued, and we ought to do that. So we'll catch up on that. I'm just thinking timing wise, and just thinking for the next 12, 15 months while we have now got people in post to do the biology, just now's the time to strike to get the protein made, and we can, once the assays and reagents are there, we can rush through things pretty quickly.
So along those lines, I guess, is there any MTAs or anything that needs to be done between, say, Warwick and SSGCID in terms of transferring protein? Because I think you guys share, you're willing to share. It's just a matter, is there any logistics with that?
We have a website, ssgcid.org, that has essentially a shopping cart. You can see like all of our 4,000 constructs if you can find them. And then you basically put them in a shopping cart, and then there's an electronic MTA, which is very basic, that we do need for someone at the Institute to kind of sign off on. And then we keep that on record, and then we will send whatever you request. If it's on dry ice, we do actually ask for you to pay for the shipping, because we don't have a budget for shipping, and we're sending dry ice to all around the world. So we'll ask you to for your FedEx number or something like that. And then we will ship you whatever you ask for. Clones, we will ship the protein if it's available, or the expression clones.
With the shopping cart, Bart, if we do multiple orders, do we need to sign up multiple MTAs, or will the one do? I'm just thinking of the pain here.
Yeah, so you can get multiple items in an order, but if you come back, you don't need to redo the MTA. So it's just one.
In which case, we'll order something that you've already got now, and start that MTA process going now.
Okay.
So, Laura, we'll have a chat and go through that.
mention that Chris Dowson and I are, I think we have half an hour with the AlphaFold team next week to talk about the project, to talk about whether they can get involved in doing some protein structure prediction for some of these proteins, using the approach they used to win the CASP protein structure prediction competition. So we'll report back on how that's looking.
So if you, AlphaFold is actually was the winner. That's true, but we have as part of SSGCID, we have the David Baker Lab at the University of Washington, and we can have them predict any protein structures that are in our pipeline.
That'd be great.
Are they interested in trying to predict ligand binding as well, or are they just protein structure?
Well, they are interested in it, but it's not something that's publicly. It's not it's not something they offer outsiders, I guess.
Okay. Could we become insiders?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not really an insider either, even though we have a collaboration with them. So that would be a different conversation. We could try.
Okay. For me, with the conversation with AlphaFold is to see how far we can push them as to whether we could get them to start thinking also about, beyond just the structures, and ultimately the structures are only, a small part of what we finally need. Yeah. Okay.
That's good to know. Thanks. All right. Anything else? We're on the half hour. All good. Thank you. Thanks so much. And I'll set up a time for in about a month or so, and I'll push some action items up. But nice to see everybody.
Okay.
See you again next time.
Right. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Thank you.